All right, so last time we created these IK handles to move our character around. Some things you'll probably notice is the mesh it starts to flip out, like for example, this knee. So generally you want to be able to do this process called skinning, or well, the process is really called weight painting or weight binding. So what I generally do is once I create the controllers, I go in and I fix all that. So let's go ahead and create those controllers. So I'm going to go to create NURBS primitive, and I'm just going to create a circle. And what I generally do is from the bottom, I hold the V like Victor key and I snap it to the bottom of the foot, and then I hit R. You'll notice there's all this stuff here. So I'm going to do edit, delete all by type non-deformer history, and that cleans everything. And then I want to get rid of all of these number values here. So modify freeze transformations. Then I'm going to hold, well, let's just name this left underscore front underscore CT or leg underscore CTRL. I'm going to hit Control A, copy that, and then holding. Let's kind of clean this up a little bit. Let's go show and turn off joints so we can see a little bit better. Now I'm going to hold Shift to copy that. I'm going to hold V and duplicate that. Now if your grid is getting in your way too, you can go to show and then turn off grid. And you'll notice this is LF leg controller. So this is actually LF or LB for back. And I'm going to hold Shift and select both of these and just copy them. And if I hold V, I can kind of snap it here, and because it's the same distance. And then with these, all I have to do is just change that L to an R. And depending on how lazy you are, you can get rid of that one or leave it. Okay, let's click off show and then turn off polygon, so we're only looking at these IK handles. So I'm going to select the IK handle, hold Shift, and press P to parent it to each one of these controllers. And actually, I want to copy one of these. I need it for the head, and I need it for the root. So I need two. So let's grab this, hit P. Let's grab this. Oops. Grab this, holding Shift, select the next thing, the next circle, and hit P. So let's go ahead and do show polygons, because we don't really need to see our joints right now. We will turn it on in a second. So now with this controller, I can do that. Now I can't, if I select the joints, like my root area, which is here, and really you can see that we have our outliner here. If I move this down, you can see because we use those IK handles, we can, it locks the legs in place. Well, what I'd like to do is, and let's turn off polygons for a second here, is because this is such a small area and I don't want to have to keep going in here, and it's really bad practice to set keys on joints depending on the engine. I'm going to hold V here, and I'm going to grab this one, and holding V, I'm going to try to snap it to that root controller. Like, see how it's snapped to the center? And I'm going to hit R and just make this pretty big. Actually, I'm going to copy another one of these off for a second because we need a master controller. So I'm going to name this root underscore CTRL for root controller, and I want to freeze transform. So modify freeze transformations. Now what I'm going to do is, because we're going from a joint to a thing, we don't parent it, a joint to we're not going from an IK handle to a controller, NURBS controller, we're going from a joint to it. So with the root selected, I'm going to select the root here, hold Shift and select that. I'm going to go to constrain, and I want to do a point constraint, and I want to make sure that maintain offset is on. So what that means is this circle has its current position, and I want this to follow the position of that circle. So I'm going to hit apply, and now when I select this, oops, you know what, it's the other way around. I'm going to select this, then hold Shift and select the root, and then apply. There we go. Now, you know what, let me undo a few. Because I had gone one way, it kind of screwed up the order. All right, let's try that again. So here's our NURB controller. Make sure if I move this, or if I select the root. Oh, I forgot I have joints turned off here, but that's okay. I'll leave it off and I'll select it there. Okay, so that's working. All right, this needs to have Holding V, making sure it's snapped there, and then modify freeze transformation. Now, with this one selected, then, or is it the root? I kind of forget the order, forgive me. Apply. Yeah, there we go. So you want to select this and then the root. And now you could see, if we turn polygons on, we have this controller here, which will move around our four-legged character. Remember, I wanted one for my head, so turning off polygons. Hitting V like Victor. And let's turn polygons back on, hitting R to scale this up. Just because we want the head. And let's name this head underscore CTRL. Turn off show polygons. Same thing. Modify freeze transformation. I had added one there. And then let's look for our head joint. So just holding control to select that head joint and then doing a point. Now, what I'd like to do is, now that we have, and this is something I should have done with the root, if I hit E here, notice it doesn't follow the rotation. And that is the orientation. So if I go to constraint and I expand orient, I want to turn on maintain offset. Now, if I select this, select that head, and then I hit apply, if I rotate this, and I'm going to hit plus to kind of expand even my thing here. I can rotate it, things like I could have my robot look up. So let's do the same thing here, selecting my my root controller. I think I went back too far where I didn't even name it right, or I forgot to name it. Then selecting my root here, and I'm going to hit orient constraint. And now when I rotate my hips, you can see it rotates all of those as well. So we've got a pretty cool BattleBot going on here. Now notice as I move my hips, the head doesn't follow it, and I want that, so I'm going to select this, hold shift, this being the head controller. I'm going to select my root controller and then press P to parent that. So now when I move my root, my head will follow. For this, I'm going to turn the grid back on, and then this is going to be my master controller. Now I'm going to hold V, and I'm just going to snap that to the, let's hit F to focus on that. Actually, let's hold the X key down, and it'll snap it to the grid. So I'm going to hit R and make that pretty big, and then modify freeze transformation, and then highlight each one of these and parent those with the P key to my master controller. And the way to check if you did this correctly, where you're parenting not just the feet but the ones above, is if you move this and only the feet follow, you have to parent just the root controller to this, because remember we parented the head to the root, so now we're parenting the root to this. So now it'll all move. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control S to save this. And then what we'll do, I wanted to talk a little bit about how to clean up the skinning if your mesh is weird. So for instance, say you move this leg up and out and it really looks ugly. Like say you don't like the way that looks. Well, there's a couple ways of handling how things should be skinned. So I'm going to go ahead and go to show, and I'm going to hide joints for now. And this, we could actually zero these out, right? That's the whole point of that thing. So I'm going to move this up and over this way. And then I'm going to select the leg mesh, and I'm going to go to Window, General Editor, and I'm going to go to Component Editor. And under Smooth Skins here, it'll tell me the weight or the strength that each joint is controlling each vertice. So I'm going to right-click and go to Vertex and double-click this. And you could see here we have the left hip, and then we have the left knee controlling it, but they're not even, right? Like if an object is on the center of a joint, that means that's the circle. Let me turn joints on so you can see that. Here's the, let me hide polygons. This, if a mesh or that sphere knee is sitting on the center of two joints, you want to make sure that that's weighted 50%. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of these and type 0.5. And you could see, oops, did I type 1? Let's try that again. 0.5. Like it weighted 100% to the knee. Let me try one other thing here. I'm going to click here, then hold Control. Oops. type 0.5. Yeah, it seems like it weighted 100% to the knee. Let's try this foot here. And this. Yeah, I think when I was initially skinning this, I had it on one bone weighting. But that's okay. I mean, for now, if you're trying to, for example, say I'm moving this and I want this. Let's try that on this one. Let's see what happens. Let's go to vertex and highlight these. Type 0.5. Oh, weighs it 100%. Interesting. I'll have to figure that out and get back to you. But anyway, it's good to just practice because you can't really break this, right? If you mess up, you can restart. Oh, it looks like I didn't. Did I not freeze transform these over here? I did not. See, I even messed up my own. The issue right now is we can go to modify freeze transformation, but because it's parented, it sometimes gets screwed up. Well, let's hit G. No, it looks like it was okay. I wonder if that had something to do with it. Anyway, I'm going to save that. And it looks like we've got a pretty good rig. At this point, when I go to animate, I usually turn off joints. Like that. You can move this around. You can move this around. So what we'll do in the next video is we'll create an idle and a walk and a jump. And then from there, what we'll do is I'll show you how to hook up and we'll create it from scratch, the controls in Unreal, if you want to make this your main character.